You know, this dude right here, this dude you see in the visual is a madman. He's a madman because he has mastered the ability to talk out of one side of his mouth and then talk out the other side of his mouth, sometimes right back to back to each other. Stephen A would literally say something and then say something else that would contradict the first something he said. Example given, we know his whole speech. I'm a black man. The clown. I'm a black man. I go through this and he go through that. And he understand the struggle. And we've all heard the speech and we all know it, especially if you've been covering sports or watching sports, especially basketball. You know the Stephen A. Smith lines. I got another video coming in because it's just going to be exposed season on Stephen A. Stephen A. is now on the same list as one LeBron James, where if there is a positive video about Stephen A., we're going to discuss some exposing first. We're going to give him his credit, but we're going to keep the exposed pressure because Stephen A. Smith, much like LeBron James, needs to get out of here, man. It's just a constant clown show surrounding these dudes because people will be like, oh, you're making all these LeBron James videos. Well, LeBron James is always doing silly stuff. You know what I mean? Like he goes out of his way to get attention, and then his fans want to play defense and want to protect his silly antics and behaviors. That's whatever. You know what I mean? Stephen A. doesn't have the same cult following as LeBron James, but he does have a certain level of protection from the sports fans. I'm noticing, where in which there's literally dudes that like Stephen A. Smith but don't know why they like Stephen A. Smith. There's dudes that like Stephen A. Smith just like LeBron James fans like LeBron. They watch highlights, they watch clips. They don't watch an entire segment of Stephen A's because one, their attention span ain't that long, and two, uh, if they did, I don't think they'd be able to comprehend the level of contradictions this man just be slinging back to back to back. What we getting to, man? Let's get to the title of the video. It's your boy Tony the Savant, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're pulling up to the video. Could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. But I like to just do my intros nowadays because I be having to get stuff off my chest. But I always like to give my initial thoughts at first, and then sometimes from time to time, if I really don't feel like I'm justified in my passion, you know what I mean? I don't want to go making these videos and start capping. So sometimes I don't jump on subjects, or I'll jump on the subject, let y'all know my initial thoughts, and then I'll let y'all know, why I didn't make a video initially or whatever. I had to process my thoughts and make sure I don't, like I say, come on here capping, doing too much. And that's how I felt about this Stephen A. Smith situation because, as y'all know, I've said it before, Stephen A. Smith, just one of those dudes in the sports analyst world where either I 100% agree with him or I 1,000% disagree with him. There's no gray area with Stephen A. with me. He's either on point with his takes or he's all out of this world with his takes. So, but with this recent move he's pulled, with Draymond Green's indefinite suspension. And there's a few things that Stephen A. has done surrounding this suspension that I've found to be utterly distasteful. Just, I'm going to use his words, outright egregious. What Stephen A. has done during this Draymond Green suspension and the things that he has decided to say and cover and, his takes, I gotta say that it gives reason to think that Stephen A. Smith needs to be ostracized from the sports community, especially amongst us quote unquote black men. because Stephen A. Smith goes on to First Take, y'all. Now I'm just breaking it down because from how I seen it, from what I was looking at, it was jaw dropping. I'm like, what is this dude doing? Like, literally, what is he doing right now? He attacked Steph Curry and Steve Kerr and the Warriors organization. I don't know if he even mentioned Klay Thompson, but he definitely sent shots at Steve Kerr and Steph Curry for quote unquote not controlling Draymond Green. Then goes to say that if it was LeBron James would have a handle on it. And if LeBron James didn't have a handle on it, the media be all over him. No, y'all wouldn't. Stop the cap. Because only people that believe that are the LeBron James camp. We all know that the media protects LeBron. Let's just say AD was pulling Draymond like antics, going on the court doing that crazy stuff. Let's just say AD was doing that. The media would not. We just going off what they do and their track record and what we know them for. They would go out of their way to make sure they talk crazy dirty and down on AD, and they wouldn't say nothing about LeBron. They'd be like, this, they would, Stephen A. He would be the first person like, this ain't an indictment on LeBron. What is LeBron James supposed to do? We know his script. We know exactly how he would do it. He would cover for LeBron, just like all the rest of them clowns in the lamestream media. But he attacked Stephen A. He attacked Steph Curry and Steve Kerr for not being better leaders of the team when I've heard him say that Draymond Green is the true leader of the team. Yes, Steph Curry is the offensive, spectacular, greatest shooter in the world, all that. But I've heard Stephen A. say that Draymond is the quote unquote one of the leaders of the team, if not the leader of the team. I've heard multiple sports analysts say that. That's the whole point of Draymond Green being there, because he's not no spectacular offensive threat. Draymond is the anchor, the enforcer, the general, the facilitator, one of the leaders of the team. You know what I mean? So if one of your leaders is wilding, what are the other leaders supposed to do? I am 1,000% sure Bob Myers, Steph Curry, Steve Kerr have all sat down with Draymond and had talks, and Draymond probably said the right things at that moment and this, that, and the third. Well, what am I supposed to do if my teammate over here, we playing the game, and out of nowhere my teammate does this crazy flop and happens to punch another player in the face? What is Steph Curry supposed to do, Stephen A.? I would love to see the list of solutions that Stephen A. has on his mind as to what Steph Curry's supposed to do in that situation. Let's just keep it going though, because that wasn't even the nastiest of the work. The nastiest of the work was when he goes on to continue to say that, oh, this situation and I'm just paraphrasing because I can't listen to that clown for too long. You know what I mean? Stephen A. is literally on the same list as LeBron, and it's only him and LeBron on that list now. Anyway, he goes on to pretty much just say that there's nothing that Joe Dumars can do, who is an NBA champion, who is an executive. He won a NBA championship as an executive member of the Detroit Pistons organization, as well as a player, and who is now a polished member of the upper brass of the NBA, as he is I think, vice president of basketball operations, essentially the head man in charge. And Stephen A. goes on to say that this situation is bigger than him, it's going to bypass him, and it just got to be directly solved by Adam Silver. And I'm not the kind of guy that goes into the race thing, but I'm just playing the race card because that's what Stephen A. does. When it's advantageous to him, he plays that whole, I'm a black man. I'm a black man. We all heard him say it. But he goes on to disregard a black man, because I've never even heard Stephen A. say nothing. When all these other players and stuff was getting in trouble back in the Gap, I've never heard him say that the vice president wasn't going to be able to handle a such and such situation, and David Stern himself was going to have to. I've never heard him reference the vice president of the basketball operations. But he goes out of his way to say that Joe Dumars is powerless in this situation, and this is going to have to be handled by Adam Silver himself, a quote unquote white man, the quote unquote black man, uh, crapping on the quote unquote other black man and giving the up and the ups and the praise and all the just due to the quote unquote white man. Now shout out to Carcino, because I didn't know this, but Big Bro, one of my favorite YouTubers, he said that Stephen A got a call behind the scenes, and that Joe Dumars was very displeased with how Stephen A addressed this situation, and especially how he addressed he himself. How Stephen A, as a black man, as a black man, goes on air in front of, we know ESPN take doing numbers now, in front of all those, at least 500,000 viewers, and just casually craps on the black man and ups the white guy, when Adam Silver himself apparently was on one of these calls and told Stephen A that's not cool. Adam Silver himself. Now that's Carcino is much more plugged than me. That's why I'm referencing, I'm citing my sources. I believe it though, because the very next day, Joe Dumars is on ESPN First Take, and he explains. I'm gonna do another video about this, because shout out to Joe Dumars, man. Joe Dumars is the only Detroit Piston, excuse me, that I ever cheer for. I ain't gonna hold you. I like Joe Dumars. He's always been one of my favorite players. I like those quiet killer types. You know what I mean? Kobe and Jordan, yeah, I like them because, they smack talking and they bag it up. But me, myself, I'm not much of a smack talker until you get me riled up. I like to be a quiet killer, like the Kawhis and the Joe Dumars. That's why I've always respected Joe Dumars. And Joe Dumars even has an award named after him that represents the most, honorable player in the league, the Joe Dumars Award of some sorts. But shout out to Joe Dumars, man. You know what I mean? Because I respect him, and I love how he moves. And that's speaking as a lifelong Chicago Bulls fan, born a Chicago Bulls fan. So, Detroit Pistons are just naturally ops for us. But Joe Dumars, man, if he played right now and he was in a Detroit Pistons jersey, I'd be rooting for him. That's the level of respect I have for him. Can't say the same about Isaiah and Lambeer and all the others. But anyway, yeah, man, he comes up on ESPN and he explains that the reason why the NBA upper brass, including him, because he has the last say on it, that clown Stephen A. Smith just casually just be doing too much, man. He on that list now. But anyway, he explains that the NBA decided that the indefinite. They decided that the suspension should be indefinite because there's a true concern for Draymond Green's, I'm guessing, mental health. You know what I mean? Because how this dude is moving, it's years into it. And at this point, I think that Draymond Green, another act like this, I mentioned it in my Job Moran video, another act like this, bro, it's time for you to be fired. You know what I mean? It's time for you to experience some real life consequences. If I see Draymond Green working at a Walmart, I'd be like, well, you did it to yourself, Dre. But anyway, he's just mentioning that there's a true support, a true concern for Draymond Green's well-being, and they don't want to put a number on it, because if you say it's a 10-game suspension and then Draymond Green does another crazy thing like this in 20 games, we right back at square one, and even worse. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, yo, NBA commissioners, what's going on? Because the next guy that punches a player and you don't bring the hammer down on, or you decide to bring the hammer down on him, y'all gonna look crazy and very inconsistent. I mean, the NBA does that anyway, but even more so. But outside of that, Stephen A. still just, well, how many number of games? Just earn your spot on that list, my guy. It's exposed season on Stephen A. until he out of here. The man already got 1 foot, he got one toe in ESPN. I spared him on that Clay Travis interview because he really exposed himself, just talking to be talking. Really, told on himself that ESPN don't even respect your sports takes. That's why you're trying to come over here to YouTube and hang with the big dogs. Although there's plenty of YouTubers that I enjoy, including Pat McAfee, but we ain't talking about the mainstream. I'm talking about basic dudes that you can hit up on Instagram and like, hey, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? You know what I mean? Those dudes doing way bigger numbers than Stephen A. Snitch. A clown, habitual clown through and through. I just don't like the guy. It's exposed season on him. And it was really this Joe Dumars, you know what I mean? It's been years in the making, Stephen A. You've been really working hard. You didn't put in a lot of legwork to get yourself on this list with LeBron James. So that's what it is. And I don't care what y'all fans got to say about it, because when I breaks it down, when I expose these dudes, I'm going to do it thoroughly. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to do my work. I ain't going to run up to the headline. Woo, no, we're not doing that. Like I said, it was years in the making. Stephen A. earning himself a spot on this list. Years. But that's all I got for that one, man. I think I hit everything I needed to talk about. I got another business to run. Thank God everything's moving, and get on to the office after that. But y'all the bosses, man. Y'all the ones I think about when I'm doing this work. Make sure this is tight. You know what I mean? I want my audience to be thoroughly educated and thoroughly entertained when y'all pull up to the Savant's channel. That's my goal since day one. Excuse me. But again, that's all I got for you. Please like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so y'all can be notified when I'm dropping content, man. Thank y'all, man, for the love and support. Peace.